tired. And it starts looking like Walking Dead. You can just see all these spirits lining the streets walking around like normal people. And I have to blink when I'm driving home to see if that's really a person or a ghost. And it's hard to tell them apart late at night when you're driving. Like bus stations too, like I'm like, are those people or are they ghosts? You have to kind of blink a couple times to see. It's really weird.
It's a definite energy to LA. I don't know if people who've never really, I know when you're first there, like if you just cruise through it for a few days, I don't think you notice it because it's so many amazing, beautiful things about LA. You're caught up in that. That's understandable. But after a while, I believe that LA starts to kind of show you who she is. And LA's a very strange girl.
LA is an initiation. It's an initiation. Only the bravest of souls come here, and they come here to accelerate themselves. And it's not for everyone at all. It's a very heavy energy. On vacation doesn't count. I love you if you visited LA and think it's easy. But like, if you move here, LA requires, and you'll ask people, I'm writing a series about this actually, called LA Normal, and it talks about like, everybody has an initiation story. Nobody comes to LA, or not, I should say not nobody, but hardly anyone comes to LA and has it be easy, or doesn't have to go through a rebirth process, or doesn't have to go through an incredible initiation process where they kind of start over and they leave their life behind. Many of us come in here heartbroken. Many of us come in here with no money, just, like a dream and a little bit of chunk change. Most people go through a really intense 2-year initiation process. So if you don't feel like you're up for that and you're like, LA sounds great, let me move there, like, think again. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if you're somebody who's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that, then don't do it. But if you're someone who's like, bring it on, then absolutely you're ready for the initiation. But she is an initiator, LA. She will show you what I say. She's like a big amplifier and a big mirror. So wherever you are soul-wise, she will hold up a big mirror and show you where you are need to grow. And that's a very painful process. But it's also the most evolutionary, and you really accelerate your soul and really kind of expand as a human being more than you ever thought you would. So like LA can be really incredible if you're ready to do your work. But what happens to a lot of people here is they come in all gung-ho, and then they can't handle seeing the truth, and they will turn to addictions in LA instead. Like alcoholism, drugs, partying too hard, serial dating, whatever it is, whatever their addiction is, instead of doing what they need to do. So I've noticed that a lot here too, because it's really heavy. It can be really heavy, but it also can be really magical. And the gifts that, if you can hang in with LA, she gives gifts too. She gives incredible synchronicity and, sudden windfalls. It's really incredible to see.
It's really interesting that we both naturally think of LA as a woman too. I think is also fascinating.
Oh, I think she's a badass woman, absolutely, and she's fickle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very definite like Cruella de Vil kind of vibe to LA, I think, and
I think she's just bipolar.
But
you got to catch her on the upswing.
The thing about LA that's really magical, right, is that you can, out of nowhere, have the most amazing things happen to you. And it's just what you're saying, right, out of nowhere. At the same time, you can plot and plan to the end of time, and it seems like, I want to say she has kind of like a very sort of mischievous attitude, like, oh, well, let me erase, like the dog eats your homework in L.A., sort of. It has that kind of vibe to me.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got about 10 minutes left, and I'm a young woman, and I want to come to L.A., and I want to be an actress. I don't care if you're psychic or not, okay? I want to be an actress. What advice would you give that woman?
If you want to be an actress, I would say,
yes.
First of all, this is very practical advice, but get training. Numero uno is training. Get into a community theater show. If you just get stuff on your resume and start working. It doesn't matter what level. It's just getting the experience going. I always tell people it doesn't hurt to have a theater background because theater is a lot more warm and fuzzy than film. So it doesn't hurt to have, and film people respect theater backgrounds. I don't think that hurts to get started that way. Get your reel built, do student films, and build up a reel, which is like clips of your work on films. Because actors who have reels versus actors who don't, it's a dividing line between professionals and amateurs. So even if you're just getting started, it doesn't hurt to make sure you get copies of all the stuff you're working on. Get training. Make sure you're training with good people. There's a lot of teachers that do more harm than good. I teach sometimes, but I personally don't believe in abusive teachers. I'm too sensitive for that. It doesn't do any good. There's some people that love like a mean Meisner teacher, but I'm not feeling that.
No, I agree with that. I think for
I've
actors,
gone through it, but I didn't like it.
You have to have love. I mean, I believe that the way to an actor's core is through love. It's not through tormenting them.
I think it's through safety. Because when you feel safe, just like when you feel safe when you're in love or something, the more safe you feel, the more you can open up. So if you're in a class where the actors really bond and it's a safe space, you're more likely to take bigger risks creatively because you don't feel like you're going to get abused and you can get out of your head. You're not waiting for the whip to crack, So, but that's just my personal preference. Like everybody has their own preference of teaching styles and all that. But I'd say training. I'd say get a reel going. I'd say what else would I say? Gosh, I'd say don't move to LA until you have some training. You don't want to come out here and compete with people who've been acting for years, unless you're really, really hot or have a really unique look or voice or something bizarre. And if you really feel like you're being called, ignore all of my advice, because one of my best pieces of advice as an actress who's working is ignore most of the advice you get. People tell actors what's possible all the time and what isn't, and 98% of what you hear on how to make it and formulas and how it has to be is BS. There are more careers that get made in this place because you sat at the right bar next to the right person than it has to do with talent and training a lot of the time, which is kind of sad if you're really trained up and worked hard, but like you have to be open to the miracles as well without expecting them, without having to work. You have to be willing to do the work and be open to cutting in line as well. So if you can have those two, I think that's kind of like, it's what brings in those miracles and those windfalls and those lucky breaks, but it also keeps you sharp and trained and ready to go when you do get those opportunities. You're like, here's my reel, here's my card, here's my website, here's my agent's number, and you're already ready to go. So you're meeting the universe halfway, but you're also calling in law of attraction, miracles and opportunities at the same time.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, when I was an actor, it was an accident how I started. But I found that it was really easy. And when I would explain and I would tell people what I was doing, how I was doing it, they'd always look at me like what I was doing wasn't like humanly possible, right? I mean, so there's that sense of, no, I don't believe you. But so I found that for me, being an actor was really easy. Being a psychic was complicated because I had no luck as a psychic, which is really interesting because that's kind of what I did. I had no luck as a psychic at all. But as an actor, I was incredibly lucky because I wasn't really even trying. It was just weird. Before we go, we've got about 5 minutes. I want to thank you. I love you. I always love talking to you. You're an amazing guest. I want to thank also Laura Powers. And one more time, let people know how they can find you. If I'm looking for you and I want to book an appointment and I'm in LA or anywhere else, how would I do that?
You would go to MeganLefay.com, and that's MEGANLEFEY.com. Or you can just look me up on Yelp, Tarot by Megan LeFay. And if you're looking for me as actress or for actor work, it's themeganlane.com. Or you can look me up on IMDb as just Megan Lane. And I'm the one known for the Y. I'm right on there, too. And everybody go click on that page on IMDb. Give me some more looks. It helps me out, too. So, yeah, that's how you find me.
Any kind of parting words anything you want to talk about we haven't hit on?
Yeah, I'd say if you guys are wanting to bring something specific into your life, I'd say one of the best little tips real quick I'll give you all is to, in order to align with the energy, you think about it and you think about already having it, and then you just go out into the world expecting it to come in however it comes in. And don't put how it has to come in, don't put limits on that. Because I've had more bizarre things come in from being really specific about what I want, and then suddenly I'm like, I want to work on voiceover, and somebody from 3 years ago called me that week to work on their cartoon. It's being open to it and building relationships in general, and no matter what you do, it's all about relationships and connectivity. And bananas that come to you for free when your psychic neighbor decides she wants you to bring her a banana.
Yeah. Don't you think that just being open and friendly in general is kind of the way to go?
Well, yeah. It's the only way that you become a magnet, I think. Unless you're James Dean or Grumpy Cat, yeah, that's the most magnetic, I think.
On that note, we will be back next week. Our guests will be Ingrid Elfer, BornCelebrity.com. I love Ingrid. And the second hour will be Trisha Vinker. And Trisha Vinker is kind of like my personal photographer. And Trish wrote this book called Internet Dates from Hell. This would be what you would be if you put your picture on Match.com. Trisha, I think she went out, I want to say 15,000 or some crazy number of how many dates she has. And really an amazing woman, beautiful woman. She has a lovely husband, Tom Vinker, a great guy, good looking, and they have a beautiful son. But they will be our guests next week. Once again, I want to thank Laura. I want to thank Megan. Of course, I want to thank Zita. For me, andrew-brewer.com. We're at the Hazy Network. We will see you next week, again with Ingrid and Trisha. Everybody have a happy week. Megan, I'm sure I will talk to you again soon. Zita, have a happy night. And we will see you next week. But final parting thought. Megan, what do you think would be good for people to kind of focus on this week to make the world even more magical? I want you to kind of end this.
I want people to think about what it would feel like if they had everything they wanted actually happen, and take some action steps in their real life in order to align with that. So if they want to be more famous, they have to start talking to more people and networking with people, because it's about being ready to be seen then. So work on being more comfortable being seen, to talk to more people. So it's getting in alignment with what you want in a physical, actionable way.
That is beautiful. And that actually makes sense for me. So everybody have a happy week. We will see you next week. Stay warm and all the best.
On its way, ready for wonders to display. I lift my head toward the sky, revealing beauty I cannot deny. Sometimes the clouds will come and go, I let them be. 'Cause this I know, I'm a ray of the sun, waiting for each morning to come, so I can land somewhere. I am what I am. Whatever I experience here could be joy, love, or tears. The sun will take me home where I belong. Would you know peace?